Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Tinytree. This is going to be the Daily Rant 3, I believe it is, and I'm going to be talking about Black Mesa Source. What do I think of it so far? The game in the background is Black Mesa, of course. This is youtube.com/Tinytree Gaming, and yeah, I mean, Black Mesa is really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. I only played Half-Life 1 a little bit when I was young, and that wasn't too bad at all. I mean, that's one of the games I grew up on, but I wasn't like especially fond of. I thought it was a great game, but just I don't know. This didn't speak to me as much as like some of the other ones, like Serious Sam, Duke Nukem, Quake, Doom, all the standard answers really. But it was up there. It was pretty good. So I've been playing Black Mesa, and it's been rather interesting. I think the game inherently just seems to be more horror focused, which I guess is just the way the game was meant to come across. If lighting and graphics and the way things were done would have been done these days, I feel like it's intentional that it was meant to be that way, and I feel like it's also just kind of part of the game. Like, I feel like if Half-Life 1 was made now, we would get something very similar to Dead Space in a lot of ways, because it's just the way it seems. Honestly, like, I mean, I get that feel from it. Like, it's not quite Half-Life 2 and it's not quite Dead Space, but there seems to be something in the middle there. Like, there is like a bit of horror in the game, which isn't too bad at all. I like it. It's kind of enjoyable. I've been playing on the hardest difficulty first, just like walking blind into it, and it's actually pretty hard, surprisingly. I've been killed by a few monsters here and there quite a bit. You'll see me fail miserably a lot in this video, which isn't actually that bad at all. People like to see me fail. It's wonderful. Even I agree, it's wonderful. Anyway, so Black Mesa, aside from that, the graphics are about what you'd expect. They're about the level of Half-Life 2, I would say. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people I've seen have complained because they really did want something extremely new, but it didn't feel old. It looks like when I was playing it, it felt like a really acceptable level of graphics. And it just kind of went well. That being said, it would be nice if we could see like a really, really super like nice looking game, in the sense that like everything, I feel like the textures in the game were really nice, but like even the anti-aliasing and the lighting was a bit wonky at times. I felt like, I'm not sure if this is the engine itself, because I did have that problem a bit with Half-Life, but Half-Life was a much lighter game, so you couldn't really notice the shadows as much, because in Half-Life 1, or Black Mesa Source more specifically, there's a lot of darkness in it, with like signal light points, and it just doesn't seem as nice as I would say I would want it to be. But aside from that, I really can't complain, because I'm having a feeling it's the Source engine more than anything, and the Source engine is really old. It came out when Half-Life 2 did, which is, God, so many years ago, and sure, it's been updated, but even still, it's just not quite there yet. But I'm getting through it. This Fraps content is a little old, from about yesterday or so, when I just did I was testing my SSD out, my new SSD rather, with it, so that's going pretty well. It seems to work just fine, which is really good. I'm glad that I can Fraps more games now and more easily, which is really nice. It's a really big help. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, in Black Mesa, how's the gameplay? The gameplay is really good. I like the fact that the moving, you can enable auto run all the time. It's really great, and I'm having lots and lots of fun with that. It's just great to run around at, like blazing speeds and play a shooter the way it was meant to be played, like the old style. It kind of feels like that. It's not quite as quick as some of the older ones, but it's definitely a nice change, I would say. I definitely enjoy playing Black Mesa more than almost every other first-person shooter these days, to be honest. So far, it's just really nice. It's just really well done. The art style, that's the main one. Black Mesa has a really nice art style to it. I can't really say anything more than that. It carries the art style really well. It's beautiful. Everything in the game is beautiful, like the way it's been done. Like, there's a really clear sort of art direction they wanted to take, and they took it really well, and that's it. Like, that's just what they did, and they executed it really, really well, and I kind of think it's hard to hate it. I don't think you can hate it. It has a really nice feel to it, and it definitely does feel like Half-Life 1 too. That's what I'm just stunned at, is that when I'm playing this game, I'm thinking, this is really nice, and it kind of feels like Portal in the sense that it's not a nice looking game, but the art direction is so good that it holds whatever complaints about graphics you have just at bay. Like, you can't, I feel like I can't bitch about how bad looking Portal 2 is, because it doesn't look that great for when it came out, and it's mainly because of the Source engine, I would say. But the art direction and art style on it was so well done that it just kind of removed that complaint, because it carried it. It definitely carried it. Aside from that, the voice acting, a lot of people seem to bitch about the voice acting of all things. That seems to be people's one comments, but honestly, it's much better than the old Half-Life 1 voice acting, and it's actually pretty good. And considering they're doing this for free, that sort of voice acting is just really hard to come by, because it's pretty good for the most part. Most people seem to bitch about voice acting, when voice acting is probably one of the hardest things, I think, in a game to get correct. It just doesn't come out right a lot of the time, and that's just... yeah, it's just one of those things. I think people bitch about voice acting a little too much, unless it's especially bad, which does happen sometimes. And when it's especially bad, then there's not really much you can do, because it becomes painfully obvious in the game. But to be honest, I think if voice acting is competent, then people get too up in arms about it just being competent and not being amazing, because there are some games with just fucking amazing voice acting in it, and people say, oh, it's a great game, it has a great story, and they don't really say it has great voice acting, because I think great voice acting is one of those things where you can only notice and bitch about it if it's bad. If it's done well, nobody seems to. Very few people who are voice actors, people who are games reviewers, mostly, not all, actually not many do. That my trusted game reviewers, the ones that I go to, the ones that I like, they notice, which is very good. You can tell who pays attention to what they're playing and who doesn't. And yeah, no, and the voice acting thing is one of those small details which I think a lot of people bitch too much about when they notice it, which is when it's bad. But I think in Black Mesa it's actually pretty good, honestly. I think I haven't really encountered any really stupid, jarring voice acting yet. I've had a few funny ones where it just kind of seems like, not out of place, but it seems like they've tried to make a joke and it hasn't really connected. Actually, I think you might even see it in this video, like when you pick up a scientist taking you to the armory and get your first gun, and you're pulling like the valve around to like get the manual override, and you see a guy taken over by a head crab, and the scientist just goes, ooh, maybe we can reason with it. And that was kind of like, okay, I know you're trying to make a joke, but that wasn't really funny. And that sort of thing. But aside from that, it's not too bad at all. So the graphics, I don't know. I haven't really gotten further enough into it to say much more about the gameplay. The guns don't feel gunny. Like, they don't feel that great in my opinion. I think they're better than most Source games for the gun feel, and the models definitely look a lot better than most Source games, where if you hold a shotgun, it takes up half your bloody screen. But the guns don't feel... And this is a problem that I had a lot with Half-Life 2 and some Source games, is that when you shoot people, it doesn't really feel like you shot them. Like games like... It doesn't really feel visceral in this game, I guess I could say. Like when I shoot somebody in the head with the pistol or with whatever gun I happen to have at the time, it doesn't feel like a really impactful shot. It kind of feels just... I don't know, it just doesn't feel... gory or like hard hitting enough, I guess. That's kind of what I want. It feels really spammy as well, depending on the gun you have, like in the sense that it just feels right to like spam in bursts and kill something that way, rather than having like a slower firing, more accurate but like really punchy feeling shooting. But that's just kind of a personal complaint. A lot of people don't really like the really hard hitting, punchy sort of visceral shooting that a lot of games sometimes do. Rage, if it did one thing correctly, it would have been that. You know, that's that sort of thing. A lot of people don't value that gunplay, I guess, but I'm one of those people who really do, and I really appreciate it, and that's one of the things I would like to see a lot more games do. And some games are getting better at it, to be honest, but yeah, that's just one of the things that it does. Aside from that, with Black Mesa Source, it seems pretty coherent in everything so far. It seems interesting. I'm just enjoying it and going through it. I don't really have much more to say on the subject, to be honest. I mean, it's mostly praise because the game is free and it's really well done. I mean, I don't know. It feels kind of weird when it's free. Like when you have this game is free and it's just this restoration of this old awesome game. It feels weird because I don't feel like I can say much more about it because it's just really well done. But yeah, if anybody has any doubts about Black Mesa, get Black Mesa. It's really good. It's like a 3 gig download, and if you have the SDK as well, it's nothing. In any case, my name has been Tinytree, signing off. youtube.com/ttreegaming, subscribe, comment, or like. This has been the Daily Rant episode 3. Thank you all for watching. I will be back with more videos. For once.